With their first Big Ten win this season credited against Northwestern, the Hoosiers fought for another win against the Central Michigan Chippewas. Did they cash in? Stay tuned for the highlights.
It was a spooky night at Assembly Hall on Halloween night. Coming up, you'll see how the first ever Haunted Hall of Hoops went as Tom Crean and the Hoosiers spread some Halloween cheer.
Felicia Leggett-Jack and the women's basketball team tipped off exhibition play against the University of Southern Indiana. Does anyone smell upset? All this and more coming up on Hoosier Sports Night. Welcome to Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Rachel Benson alongside Brett Goldenhorn. It was a rough weekend for Hoosier football.
Yes, it was. It looks like the Hoosiers have to win 3 in a row if they want to be eligible for a bowl game. With Central Michigan coming into Bloomington as their final non-conference game of the season, the Hoosier football team looked to gain some more momentum after their upset against Northwestern last week. Indiana thought they could beat up on a MAC team that they have yet to lose to in their history, being 3-0 against CMU, but the pesky law of averages thought otherwise. Here we go. Let's take you to Bloomington, where the Hoosiers must defend the rock to keep their bowl chances alive. All tied up at 7, Kellen Lewis takes the snap, hands off to Marcus Thigpen, who runs up the right side. He breaks 3 tackles, beats one last man, and he's off. He could go all the way. Marcus Thigpen rushes 77 yards for a touchdown to give the Hoosiers a 14-7 lead. Second quarter, Brian Brunner surveys the field, passes, and completes a 7-yard touchdown to Antonio Brown. Score is tied, Hoosiers in the red zone, and wide receiver turned quarterback Mitchell Evans takes the snap and sneaks it 14 yards for the score, and the Hoosiers are up by 7. Later in the half, ball at the Hoosier 16-yard line. Get used to the name Brian Brunner because he had a day, throwing 16-yard touchdown pass to Joe Bachheim to tie up the score at the half. We go to the second half, scores tied at 21. Hoosiers with the ball on their own 36-yard line. Ben Chappell drops back, takes a look, and launches the ball to an open Ray Fisher, who continues on his way for a 64-yard touchdown catch. This puts the Hoosiers up 28-21. Later in the third, Chippewas driving. Brian Brunner launches a pass, and it's intercepted by Will Patterson, who also had 10 tackles on the day. Hoosiers with the ball in Chippewa territory. Chappell tosses a 13-yard pass to Tendon Doss. But wait, is it a touchdown? We'll go to the review. The tapes show that his feet were out of bounds. No touchdown, the Hoosiers will kick. Austin Starr in to attempt a 30-yard field goal, and like we've said all too often, wide right. Chippewas would soon tie the game at 28. Later on, Hoosiers up by 6. Brian Brunner passes to Ontario Sneed for a 44-yard gain to set up a Chippewa field goal that would make it a one-possession game. Later in the fourth, Hoosiers up 3. Ben Chappell drops back and scrambles like his injured counterpart, Kellen Lewis, to the right, fires a pass, and it's intercepted by Kirkston Edwards and returned for 3 yards. 8 minutes left, and the Chippewas have the ball on the Indiana 1-yard line. The snap to Brian Brunner, who sneaks it in for his first rushing touchdown of the day. He totaled 5 touchdowns altogether. That would just about do it. The coach gets the bucket, and the Chippewas cheer as they beat the Hoosiers 37-34. Josh Greenberg has more.
Few were on hand to see the barn burner between Central Michigan and Indiana, which had just a little bit of everything. The game definitely featured plenty of offense. Marcus Thigpen had 102 yards on 3 carries in the first half alone, and Central Michigan's backup quarterback, Brian Brunner, cut through the Indiana defense like butter that's been sitting in a sauna for 3 weeks, racking up a school record 485 yards with 5 touchdowns.
It was just quick. The coverage that we were in, we had a couple mental errors, and that hurt us a lot. I really don't know what to say. We had a lot of guys that just played like they wanted it today.
And they did a nice job of getting rid of it and taking what was there, and then their guys did a nice job running with it after the catch too. You like to try to make the team one-dimensional, and we stopped the run, but we just never did stop the pass.
Our goal is still out there. All we need is 6 wins, and we still got 3 games left. So to some it might seem impossible, but we're gonna play our best, come out and do what we need to do.
One thing is for certain, unless the Hoosiers come up with a few new answers, they'll be seeing similar results all year as they drop another game. At Memorial Stadium, I'm Josh Greenberg, Hoosier Sports Night.
Although both offenses were successful, each team clearly had different philosophies. Central Michigan's Brian Brunner passed for a school record 485 yards with 4 scores. Meanwhile, on the ground, they were stifled by the Hoosiers' defense, which only allowed 37 rush yards. As for Indiana, 9 different players added to the team's total 272 rushing yards, being led by Marcus Thigpen's 109 yards on just 6 carries. Ben Chappell only attempted 16 passes, completing 8 of them for 156 yards and an interception to match his 1 touchdown. After 2 weeks off due to injury, IU quarterback Kellen Lewis returned to the Hoosiers roster on Saturday, but that wasn't the only change the Hoosiers made to their offense. Wide receiver turned quarterback Mitchell Evans made his presence felt in the IU quarterback trio.
He really didn't have to do too much since he was a quarterback for his first year. Then he went to safety, then went back to quarterback when Kellen got into a little bit of trouble. But he been working pretty hard, and he deserved it. So he went out, scored a critical touchdown for us today. He's just been doing pretty good.
Evans rushed for 25 yards on 3 carries from under center, scoring a touchdown along the way. Ben Chappell tossed 1 touchdown on 16 attempts for 156 yards. Kellen Lewis threw for 51 yards on 9 attempts. He also rushed for 10 yards on 8 carries, but was scoreless on the day.
Kellen got hurt again. You know, there wasn't, I mean, what we had planned was good. Both of them were beat up going in the game, and there were different offensive packages when Kellen was going to play and Ben was going to play. So I think it was a good plan. It certainly worked early. And then, when he couldn't play anymore, then it changed. So we'll have to see where everybody's health is as we get into this week.
Lewis's injury put a damper on the Hoosiers' attack, but Coach Lynch is confident that the plan they had in place was a good one. They will continue flip-flopping between Lewis and Chappell as they prepare to host Wisconsin in a must-win matchup. From Memorial Stadium, I'm Brett Goldenhorn, Hoosier Sports Night.
Will Patterson does not like to lose. As captain of the IU football team, he's been vocally frustrated with this year's performance. Less than 1 season after Indiana's most impressive win in 30 years, the Hoosiers are on the verge of being bounced from postseason play. After Saturday's loss, Patterson made it clear that not everyone wearing a Hoosier uniform showed up ready to play.
We had a lot of guys that just play like they wanted it today, and then you had the select few that just didn't at times. And we got certain guys that go out and play like warriors every Saturday, and then got the few guys that just kind of do their own thing. So it showed today.
Tom Crean and the Hoosiers celebrated Halloween by hosting the Haunted Hall of Hoops at Assembly Hall on Friday. We'll tell you if it turned out to be a trick or a treat.
The volleyball team hosted Iowa and number 13 ranked Minnesota this weekend. On the heels of a weekend road sweep, could they get back into NCAA tournament talks? Coming up next on Hoosier Sports Night.